Hello and welcome. Leeds United 3, Sheffield Wednesday nil. Craig, how we doing, mate?
I'm doing good actually today now.
Good. And we're also joined by James Marshment from teamtalk.com. How we doing, mate?
Yeah, very good. Thank you, Michael. Yeah, buzzing after today. Pleased with 3 points in the bag. So, yeah, happy days.
Yeah, good win. Obviously, Solomon within 3 minutes. Beautiful ball by Rothwell. I'm just going to give hats off to Rothwell straight away for that pass. It was all him. Keeper made a mistake. Aronson closed him down, and then Solomon with the goal. Beautiful. What? How did you take that, Craig?
Well, I didn't take it as Aronson closed him down. I took it as Aronson missed an opportunity to get on the end of it. But yeah, it was Solomon's just growing game to game into, and that ball from Rothwell. That's what we were lacking. I think a lot last season is that killer ball. But yeah, it's a brilliant start to the game.
Yeah, James, how did you take it?
Yeah, exactly the same, really. I think the fact Rothwell, straight away, he's got his head up, he's on the front foot, he's looking for that forward pass. You think about the combination we had in centre mid for the majority of last season, Ampadu and Gruev, and there might have been a sideways pass there. But straight away, he's on the front foot. He's thinking, right, there's a forward option here. He'll play it forward. And it was incisive. It cut the defence apart. Something for Aronson to run onto. I wouldn't say he bottled the challenge, but he was almost a little bit hesitant to get there. But that resulted obviously in Beadle spilling it, and Solomon was onto it quickly, and smart finish and perfect start, really. It's exactly what you want in a derby. I'd like to say it would have settled the nerves, but it didn't really, and probably Wednesday with a better team after that during the first half.
Yeah, I mean, if you solely look on stats, obviously Leeds were the better team, more chances and stuff like that. For the first 10, 15 minutes, yes. After that, they grew into it, and there was even before that with the corners, especially with how Meze is with coming for corners. Were you worried at all by them attacking us or not? James, I'll go to you first.
Yeah, I was actually, because they took the game to us. They came to Ellen Road and they weren't afraid. I think looking at their away record, they'd won 3 in the last 5 away from home, Sheffield Wednesday. So they're a team, I think, on the rise. I think they've got a very forward-thinking manager. I think Danny Roll. I know the Leeds fans are giving him a bit of jip with the chant, which is always amusing. I was at Hillsborough and they gave it there as well, which I enjoyed. But he's a very, very good manager. I think he'll take that team far. They might be a little bit short for the playoffs this year, but they came to Ellen Road with a bit of ambition and they took the game to Leeds. The corners that they were putting in on top of Mellier's head, which was quite a smart move. They know he's vulnerable. And yeah, I've got to say, I was a little bit concerned. I think they had a threat without having too many clear-cut chances, if that makes sense. But again, that's credit to the work of the Leeds defence. We do limit clear-cut opportunities, even though Wednesday had quite a lot of territorial advantage at that point. So they were the stronger team over the latter half of the first half, I would say, and I was happy to get in at the break 1-0 up. But yeah, decent team, decent game, and yeah, I was happy to get in at half-time 1-0, let's say.
Craig, what about you, mate? Were you worried at all? Because I know a lot of the time you're not really worried when other teams play us.
No, I saw it in a different way that it's I only get worried a bit out in hand when they were getting the corners because it seems like they've learnt from what other teams have done and had success, and they were playing that ball to the back post, heading it back in, and I just thought because the way that I looked at it is if Melier is having a good game, we're going to be solid. But the defence was solid today. The back four, all of them solid. And I think that they came at us and they had to do because they went 1-0 down early and they came at us and gave us a game. But like I said, no clear cut chances, and I thought that it's. I'm not really worried with the defence that we've got. That it was the corners mainly that were maybe heart in hand a couple of times, but. Yeah, I didn't feel threatened by them because they didn't create much. They didn't do a lot with the ball. They had a lot of it, but they didn't do much. If that makes sense.
I know speaking to Sheffield Wednesday colleague, an old friend of mine, I go to home and away Sheffield Wednesday with him throughout. our friendship, really. So he felt the moment today, the real key moment for Wednesday, from the Wednesday point of view, was that ball through to Josh Windass, which Ampadu, he read that so well, and he was onto him
Yeah,
like a flash, and a brilliant tackle. He felt that was their one key moment. If he'd
yeah,
like sort of acted a bit faster and got his shot off, we can't rely too heavily on Melier saving the shots on goal, can we really? So he felt that was a key moment. Had the shot been taken quickly, then we might have been looking at a different scoreline at that point. But from a
yeah.
Wednesday point of view, that was their key moment in the game, and I can see where it's coming from.
Yeah,
I was
that was the
literally
one
just about to
chance
say
that
that.
that was the one chance that I like. I paused, I paused the breath, thinking this is it. They're going to equalise. But when Ampadu came across, I thought, right, okay, here we go. It. I mean, you've got to give Wednesday credit for having a go and creating those chances because the under Danny Roll they have improved fantastic a lot. But at the first half towards the end, I thought it was going to be one of those um, shaky 1-0 Leeds wins, or maybe we're going to we're going to concede a last minute equaliser again. But yeah,
Yeah, I think the
Yeah,
scoreline, it wasn't a 3-0 game, but it just wasn't. I mean, yes, okay,
no,
we had a lot more chances than they did, 16 to their 6. But again, that Windass chance at the beginning, I was just about to say Ampadu with that amazing tackle. And he also done a similar one in the second half as well, where he got his block in. And again, he was absolutely solid, which we will get onto shortly in the ratings. But then subs happened. Obviously, you had Solomon came on. No, sorry, Pirro and Gruev came on to start off with. Gruev, I thought, done really, really well. Obviously, come back from that injury. As I said last time round, a lot quicker than I thought he was going to. And then Ramazani, I think, completely changed the game with just how direct he is. So forward thinking, doesn't like to go backwards at all. You just see it head up, run in, shot as well, that first shot. And then from that corner, when everybody shouts shoot from the ground, and Tanaka with that beautiful little flick that was just, yeah, absolutely wonderful. Craig, what did you think about those two goals?
the goals were sublime. I think the first one at first I thought he'd lost it, and then he regained his composure and and saw that little gap and just swiveled and took it first time, and yeah, that was a brilliant finish. The second one, I thought it was an audacious attempt from where he was on like I think it was like a volley that he hit it, and then
Yeah.
but then Tanaka to just flick it into the corner, and the keeper going the wrong way because he was going for Ramazani's shot. I was like, this is it, this is what you want. I've been waiting for Tanaka to score at Ellen Road, and he does it in this fashion.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere it's the first time in a league game he's scored two in a row since July 23. So, I mean, yeah, James, what did you think about it?
yeah, brilliant. Ramazani's impact off the bench is we can't undersell it enough. Really, it swung the game back in our favour when it looked like we were either going to sneak a 1-0 or get done at the end, like similar to the Blackburn game. But credit Farker, he got the subs and the timing of them right today. I thought tactically that was pretty much spot on. Ramazani made a real difference. So direct running, like you've both touched upon, and he's hard to shake off the ball. I think we probably don't give him enough credit for that because he's small. But hard to shake off the ball, diminutive, and he finds that little tiny gap where perhaps others won't, and he'll twist and he'll turn and tries the first shot, doesn't get it, finds the ball again. You think the opportunity's gone. Maybe the Wednesday defenders thought they'd done the work, and he just snuck it in, and it was perfectly into the corner. And he's a very, very good finisher, and perhaps a little bit underused. I know he's had his injuries, and I know we've got strong competition for shirts, but you look at his ratio for like goals and assists, and I've written a couple of things down really here, but he's averaging now. He's got 5 goals and 2 assists from 691 minutes of playing, which gives him a goal contribution every 98.71 minutes. Now that is the most efficient from any player in the Leeds team this season. He's just gone ahead of Joel Pirot with that sort of stats for goals, goal contribution per minute played, and it's also actually the best in the entire championship this season for minimum 10 appearances. So, there's an argument there to say he is per minutes played our best attacker for what he's doing, and maybe he could be the man who sort of takes us over the line in the second half of the season and gets more of a. There's an argument there to sort of give him a starting place on Wednesday night, I would say. He's very, very good. Very, very good.
I'll ask your favourite front four at the end, but let's just run through. We'll do some player ratings, and then we'll get on to what you prefer as your front or your wingers, obviously, because I know that Aronson is just that 10 role at the end of the day because it's Farker's man. But we will touch upon that at the end. Right. Ilan Meslier, mate, how would you rate him altogether? I know that me and Craig have had not necessarily differences, but we've had our thoughts on him recently. So I'll lead it over to you, James.
Yeah, I wanted him dropped today. I must admit, I thought it was. I've been a big defender of him for a long, long time, but I think when you look at the sort of mistakes he's made recently, I think he's been culpable for far too many goals. And the Hull one, the sort of one he should have tipped over the crossbar for me was a little bit of the final straw in the making. Yes, he's kept a clean sheet today. He's not really had that much to do. He's probably had one shot on goal, which he's sort of palmed, he's got down low and palmed it around the post. It's a save you'd expect him to make. So I wanted Darlow to start today. He didn't. Fair play to Farker. He's got his opinion and no one's going to shake him from that. He's steadfastly stuck by him. So, it's worked today. His defence have helped him out. And if you're giving him a mark out of 10, I'll say 6.5. He's not done a lot wrong, but then he's not been tested either. A couple of shaky passes out as well, actually, with the ball at his feet. That was, his distribution perhaps not quite on point, and that's one of his key strengths, I would say. He's kind of weak on shot stopping, but perhaps his distribution, he's good with the ball at his feet. But there were a couple of moments today where he didn't quite find the right man. So I'm going to give him a 6, I think.
Craig, let's hear you first, mate.
Yeah, I think like I say, I base everything from starting point as a 6. I think I give him maybe a 6.5, just for the save and having broad shoulders to come in today, knowing that the Leeds fans would be watching with a close eye over him, because I wanted Dalot to start. Because I just think he needs some time away to try and. I do believe he will be a good keeper. He's got it. He's got the potential. There's a reason why previous managers have kept him in as number one as well. So he just needs some time to find himself, I think. But 6.5.
The other thing I'd say as well about the keeper situation, sorry, Michael, is that if you have a number 2 keeper on your tail and keeping you on your toes, you take that out of the firing line, take him out of the firing line, and it might dent his confidence a bit, but you're going to come back with a bit more hunger. You're going to come back with a bit of the thought of, I've got to do better, I've got to play better, I've got to make this save, I can't drop this clanger. It sharpens your mind. And the fact that Farker has pretty much said, you're number one, and even if you drop an absolute stinker at Hull or away at Sunderland and you've cost us X amount of points, you're still my man. So there's not really that element of being kept on his toes. So
I've said this as well, James, that we need a number 2, not necessarily to take over him, but someone that's going to push him for that number 1 spot. To make him, to keep him on his toes, because his development will stagnate if he doesn't have that competition.
I agree.
Yeah,
completely.
no, I agree. Yeah. I mean, he made 2 saves, 1 claim from a corner, but again, shaky. Every time they had a corner, you're like, here we go again. And I do believe that the players, their confidence in him isn't great. I can't remember who. I think it was Byram and Joe Rodon who's both over him. Just watching from the first corner, I'm like, please no. And he just lacks confidence. If your defenders aren't confident in you, then you yourself aren't going to be that confident. But I thought he did all right. Obviously, 2 saves, 1 was straight at him anyway, and all the crowd just ironically cheered him for it, which I thought was a bit like, okay, you're just doing that just because it's him. That it was that pass over in the 29th minute when he went straight to him. He had a lot of time and he just cleared it straight to them. And then obviously they had the ball, just passing it around. Thankfully, we got the ball back, but it was just that whole, where if we concede from here, that's on you. I think 6.5 is. I mean, I'd be tempted to go up to a 7, but I'll go for a 6.5 just because of that pass, and it was just that just the nerves around him. He just didn't make me feel confident in him at all. But clean sheet, it's all we asked for, really. Right, let's go on to Bogle next. Overall, I thought he had a fantastic game. Craig, I'll go to you first for Bogle because I know how much of a fan you are of him.
Yeah, I mean, it were amazing today. I texted you earlier, didn't I, and said what's happened to Bogle? He's turned into prime Cafu today. He's just
Yeah, no
taking
dribble.
players on and just just dancing through players. Attacking wise is amazing. Like I don't think there's probably many right backs that can match him when it comes to going forward. I mean, it's an improvement that I was thinking this during the game. It's an improvement over, yeah, Archie Gray might have been solid at right back last season, and Ayling, good servant for us. But Bogle's got is it 3 goals he's got this season already? I don't think
Yeah.
we've had that from a right back in recent seasons. So yeah, he's contributing well and he's growing. I think the more game time he gets.
Yeah, even defending as well. I know there was a whole debate at the start of the season where everyone thought it was shaky. Here we go again. We ain't got a right back that couldn't defend. I personally think he is all right at defending. Yes, we'll every now and then he'll get skinned, but hey, it's a championship. It's going to happen for every single player. You could probably put the world's best defender in the league, and they would get skinned every now and then. So it happens. James, what did you think about him?
It was brilliant. Trent Alexander Bogle. He honestly, he's if you look at the Premier League, right? You look at the best right backs around. Alexander Arnold's a probably prime example. They're not really traditional right backs anymore. They're effectively right wingers, and there's not many in the Championship. There's not anyone better than him at what he does in terms of being an adventurous, attacking, effectively another winger, really, right back. And I don't want to look too far ahead and think Leeds in the Premier League, but he's one player I think Leeds could have in the Premier League and would adapt well because that sort of player, there's almost less reliance on defending, and I agree he can defend, but there's less reliance on defending, and you want your right backs to be adventurous, motor up and down the right hand side, and he did that in spades today, and he was particularly the first half. He really was excellent, but for Ampadu, I think he'd have been man of the match in my eyes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it was
So I'm giving him a solid 8. I thought he was really good, really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, some stats here. I like doing stats for Bogle. Obviously, 8 duels won, 4 opposition touch ball in their half, 4 passes into final third, 4 ball recoveries, 3 out of 5 successful take-ons. Obviously, that one with a little Cafu run where he just darts through everybody and you think, how has he done this? 2 interceptions, 2 clearances. And like you say, traditionally, like a 4-4-2-3-1, we don't generally play that. I don't think. I think you saw it in the first half. We're playing more of a 2-2-6 in how we set up. In when we've got the ball, that is obviously when we defend, we get back. But in possession, it is generally like a 3 at the back or back 4, like in the middle kind of thing. Bogle 8. I mean, I've rated him really high recently. I don't think he was as good as what he has been, but yeah, I'll go for an 8 as well. Craig,
Yeah, I'm going for an 8 as well. Like I say, if it weren't for Ampadu today and and Solomon, it'd be man at match for me.
I think there's also another guy as well that's up
Yeah,
there as well, which I'm going to get into in a bit. But
he's already got. He's in a league of his own. That guy.
exactly, I think you can guess who that is already, right? So yeah, 8 all around then for Bogle. What about Joe Rodon then? James, I'll go to you first.
Yeah, good. You know what you're getting with Joe. He's strong. He's a leader. He's up for the battle, which is why Leeds fans love him. He's very consistent. Doesn't put a foot wrong, and probably wasn't his most outstanding game today, but he was very solid. And you get that week in, week out from Rodon, and you probably wouldn't want another battle weary centre half in the entire championship. I think he's outstanding at this level. And there was a moment sort of in the second half where the Wednesday players were at him, and he sort of made a tackle off the floor, and he's just one of the old fashioned sort of blood and guts defenders, and I love him. And yeah, he was a solid 7 today. He didn't put a foot wrong, to be fair.
Yeah, played with a slight little injury at the end afterwards of that tackle as well. If it's the same one you're referring to,
Yeah.
Craig, what would you say for Rodon?
Yeah, I've got for an 8 for Rodon today. It were brilliant. Didn't put a foot wrong really, and like you said, that it's that old no nonsense defending that you just love him for, and that's what endears you to Leeds fans. Every Leeds fan loves a defender like that. It reminds me of like Paddy Kidnorbo at times, that it's just puts everything out there. I just can't wait to see him one day. I just think one day we're going to get to see him with that headband around his head, just like that. I don't think nothing will take him off that pitch.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm going to go in the middle and go 7.5. Again, nothing wrong, just not as good as Bogle. So that's hence why that rating. Right. Obviously, the main man, let's talk about Ampadu. Who wants to go first, James or Craig? I'll leave it up to you two.
We'll go with James on
Oh,
again.
thank you. Like, you're a gentleman. Ampadu, absolute Rolls Royce. He's too good at this level. Let's be honest. And if you had a team of Ethan Ampadu's, you'd be flying up this league, because he can play in midfield. He doesn't drop below a 7. He plays in defence. He doesn't drop below a 7. And he was excellent today. I think there was a bit of cynicism about him perhaps starting at centre half again, and wondering if that's his best position, and a repeat of last season's partnership with Rodon. But those two together are brilliant for one another. I'm not saying Strauch isn't either, but he was exquisite today. He reads the game so well. He sniffs out danger. Passing range is great, because we see that from him in midfield as well. And he's just calm, composed. He snuffed out all the danger, and just such a great reader of the game, and tackler when he needs to be. And I can't fault him. I just think he's perfect captain material, and one of the few players you'd bank on to be a decent Premier League player as well if we go up.
Yeah, I mean, most touches, most passes, obviously how we play, that's going to happen. But it all went through him. He got the most clearances in the game with 8. He made 6 passes into the final third as well, so he was progressing the ball. I'm hard to go anything less than a 9. Obviously, last ditch tackle as well. 2 huge tackles that essentially won us the game in that sense. No, 13 defensive actions, 7 recoveries. Craig, let's hear it from you.
Yeah,
A rating
I'm going.
for Ampadu.
Yeah, I'm going with a 9 because it was he's a leader, and you can tell it every time he's on that pitch. He drives you forward, and I think it's a bit of a myth in the past that he's not a progressive player, because he always looks for a forward pass. I think when he can, and he's the only one that plays that long ball over the top. And it is, I think there's not much difference. I know a lot of fans say his best positions in midfield, but I don't think there's that much difference in between midfield or defence. But it depends on the partner, because with Harrogate, and he had Gilavogi at the side of him, you could tell. But when he's got Rodon, because the teammates at international level as well, I think that partnership just. I'm not like, let's say, like you said, James, Pascal. Nothing against Pascal, but when Ampadu and Rodon are there in that central defence, I've no worries.
Yeah, I'll give him a 9 as well. James?
I'm going to go 8.5, because I don't like to go too high. Yeah, I thought as a team, we the team performance was perhaps not, but he carried us through it at times. So I'm going to say 8.5. I'm
No,
strict.
that's fair enough. Right, let's hear your strict one about Byram then, mate.
Byron was great, solid, great pro. I think it's almost underestimated how good a signing he's been for Leeds. Free transfer. He'd been injured a little bit. in and out of the Norwich team before that. He never had any time at West Ham as well prior to that. But I just think he's been brilliant. Covers so many positions, never lets us down, never lets his standards drop. He's not even a natural left back, and yet he makes it look so easy. And he's just a very good pro. He gets up and down. He's, obviously not as creative as Bogle on the other side, but he's just a great professional and a good player to rely on. He's just reliable, Mr. Reliable. So I'd give him a 7. Did nothing wrong, and happy for him. Always confident when he's in the side. He's going to give that defence a little bit of solidity. Compared to like Junior Firpo, he's better going forward, but maybe you're not as confident in him from a defensive aspect. But certainly with Byram, he's rock solid. So yeah, 7 for me today.
No, that's fine. Craig, what about you, mate?
I think I'd give him a 7.5 today because there were a couple of tackles that he made today that were, he gets for all the injuries and the people worry that he can't play many minutes. He's not shying out of tackles and things like that. But yeah, he's like I've said many times before. He just gives you 100% every single time, and you're going to get a solid performance out of him. But yeah, I was on the plane with him actually coming here when I flew over here. I was on the plane with him, and he's yeah. I told him I want him to get like good luck for the season because I want him to get promoted with Leeds if we can, because we missed out on it last time. That's why he left, because we didn't look like getting promoted, and he was way streets ahead of the players that we had at that point. So it'd be nice to see him promoted with Leeds.
Yeah, I'll go for a 7.5 as well. Right, let's go on to Rothwell next. Craig, let's hear your thoughts on Rothwell. Obviously, we've already alluded to his beautiful pass for the first goal.
Yeah, I think
What
he's
would
a
you
player
say for
that
him?
I'd probably give him a 7.5 as well, because there's times when he like today there's times when he gave a short pass and it wasn't quite what he were planning on doing, but then there's other times where like this exquisite pass he played through to create the first goal, and he always looks up and drives forward, and we lacked that last season.
Yeah, I agree. James?
Yeah, he was good today. Not his very best, but good all the same. I thought he had a good midfield battle, and I think that was a test for him today. The Sheffield Wednesday centre midfielders, Barry Bannon, who we know fairly well, and I forget the other guy Sheffield Wednesday had in midfield alongside him. But it was a good
Hey,
battle.
Charles.
Yeah, that's right. It was a good battle, and Rothwell had a test today, and there were times when he wasn't always on top of that battle. But as a team, we sort of, we forged our way back into it. So he had a good game, a solid game, decent passes. Obviously, the assist, if you like, for the first one, drives us forward as a lot. So I give him a 7. Not his very best, but still, I'd like us to sign him permanently. Put it that way. I think he rarely sort of drops his levels, but 7 today for me.
Yeah, no, I've had my say on Rothwell a lot this season. I'll go for a 7 as well. And he's one of those ones that I do want to sign, but at the same time, I want to wait to see if we go up and like if we can get something better. Obviously, at this level, amazing. But if we go up, I want us to be improving. That's not any disrespect to him at all. Obviously, I really, really do like him. I think he is so underrated for what he does bring us. But yeah, I'll go for a 7 as well. That will lead us on to the main man, Tanaka. James, I'll go to you first before Craig just spills his love for him.
Well, I love him as well, so I think it's going to be a gushing kind of 5-minute piece
Yeah,
on Tanaka here. I love him; he's brilliant. Having said that, I thought he misplaced a couple of passes today. I don't think he was. I'm critical because I love him so much. I don't think he was quite as good as he has been in recent weeks. And there was a point where I'm thinking, I wonder now if Farker might think about taking him off. I'm glad he didn't, because obviously he got the brilliant finish at the end. But yeah, like Rothwell, I think he had a testing afternoon, one of his more sort of challenging games, I would say. But he came through it. He did well, and again, you're never going to get anything less than 100% from him. He gives his all for the team. He gets what it is to be Leeds, and his range of passing is brilliant. I like the fact that he can play as an 8 or maybe a little bit deeper as a sort of almost a 6. I think he's got a great sort of range to his game as a midfielder. So I'll give him a 7 today, similar to Rothwell. I think not his very best. No, let me go again. I'm going to say 7.5 because he scored and it was a brilliant moment. 7.5. I'll give him an extra half for the goal because it was a great moment and I've been dying for him to score at Ellen Road. So yeah, lovely moment.
I mean, you touched on the pass, obviously 88% pass rating, 7 defensive actions. He made 8 passes into the final third, XG of 0.66. Again, XG is XG. We don't really talk about that much. But again, a cheeky little goal and a clearance off the line as well in I think it was the 13th minute.
Oh, I've been harsh to
Craig,
him now, haven't I?
you have been harsh to
I
him,
have been
hence why
harsh.
Craig, let's go for you first before James changes his rating.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for like an high end 8. I'm not gonna go at an 8.5 because they're reserved for other things. But yeah, it's harsh to go maybe go that low, but it's like an high end 8. But yeah, because he does it didn't start off like when he first started, it was like a Rolls Royce, like he never made a mistake. But now mistakes are starting to creep in a little, but not too much. And yeah, his tackling's perfect. His perfection when he's winning the ball back. The way that he does it is brilliant because he just gets the ball and then looks up and he's making something happen. And yeah, he played a little bit further forward today towards the latter end of the game as well, which I didn't even notice a decline in anything. There was one shot apart from that. I mean, the goal was amazing when I know it's a little flick, but just it made it look good. But there was one shot I think as well that he had that was way out, and if that had have flown into the top corner, I don't think I'd have been alive to be able to. I'd have, I'd have jumped off the balcony of this hotel room.
Yeah, it was going top corner, but obviously it curled a little bit out of the way. I know exactly which one you mean.
Yeah,
I mean,
they downplayed it though in the commentary because they were like as though it were well wide, and when you saw the replay, it wasn't that far away.
no, I mean on who scored, he got the highest rating. Obviously, that's where I get most of the stats from. But yeah, he got the highest rating. So by looking at that, he will make team of the week from the
Yeah,
championship. I mean, definitely got to be an 8. He can't be any lower than an 8. So
no,
yes, you are being very, very harsh
And
on
I
him.
love him. I love him as well.
yeah.
So I think
Like
you
I say,
come up to an 8.
I love him, but I can't. But yeah, I don't think he was the best player on the pitch today.
No, I'll give him an
Overall,
8, but
yeah.
I'm not going any lower than that. Right, we'll go to. Are you going to come up to an 8 as well, James?
Go on then. Yeah, I've
Good.
been
That's what we
persuaded
like to
because I
hear.
love him. I love
Good.
him.
Right, let's go to Dan James next. Let's hear it from you, James, seeing obviously namesake.
James on Dan James. Yeah, good first half. Yeah, I thought the first half, we're obviously drifting in and out of the game as an attacking threat, but when we did have a threat, it came from him, especially towards the end of the first half. Perhaps unlucky not to score, tested their keeper with a couple of efforts, and I just think he really gets what it is to be Leeds, which I really like about him. He gives his all for the shirt. He really works hard. I'm not overly impressed with the chant the fans have got for him because it's a bit. I don't know if anyone's watched Ted Lasso, but that's a chant that came up with Roy Kent on there, and it just bugs me. I think it's a bit of a lame one, but anyway, that's a side issue. Yeah, he had a decent enough game without getting a goal, really. So yeah, happy enough with him. I thought it was the right time to take him off when he was taken off. So yeah, happy enough. I'll give him a 7.
7. Yeah, Craig, what about you, mate?
Yeah, I'll give him maybe yeah, probably a 7. maybe a 7.5. Yeah, I thought he played well today. It's just there were a couple of times where I didn't think he got. He weren't as influential as he usually is when he's on fire. But yeah, he tested the keeper a couple of times, and I just thought, like on that right hand side, I thought Bogle was a better performer on the right hand side than he was. I think he got more of the limelight. So yeah,
No, I'll go for a 7 for him. Right, the controversial one, Brendan Aronson next. Craig, I'll let you talk about him
but that's
because I
it.
know
That's it. I'll give him a 6.
that's it. No, that's
no,
fine.
no. Brendan is like I say, he tries, but there's too many times for me as when I play in those forward positions. So it's like when he gets the ball and we're breaking, we're attacking, and he's got all that space to run into, and he holds the ball for way too long, and then ends up losing it, which creates another attack from the opposition team instead of just passing the ball like within the first couple of steps. There's there's options on for him and he doesn't see it. He just puts his head down and runs, and then he kind of like slows down and dilly dallies with it, and then he loses the ball. And like I say, he's lost the ball the most times in the championship this season. And yeah, I don't. I feel personally that he needs time off, time on the
I
bench.
mean, he only got dispossessed once today, so I think that's like one of his lowest that he's ever been dispossessed because normally it's in the eights.
Where
James, what did you think about him today?
I'm going to give him a 6 today, maybe a 6.5. I think his work rate's incredible, and I know that's why Farker keeps him in the side because for all the times he does lose the ball, he wins it back a lot, and you can't fault his work rate. It's almost like the fact that Leeds don't concede that many goals. It almost starts from that end of the field because he's almost like a terrier in that final third, and I know why that's why Farker's picking him. But when you're talking about a number 10, you want someone to create, you want someone to score, and for me, he doesn't quite give enough at that. And we're talking Championship here. We bought him as a Premier League player. When you think back, he didn't do it in the Premier League. I doubt he could do it in the Premier League again. He's all right for now, as where we're at. But it was a nothing performance really from him today. A hard working one, but nothing really of note where you're thinking, wow, that was good. So 6 for me, 6.5, something like that.
I'll go for a 6 for him. I didn't think he was anything special. And anyone who listens to this knows I do actually. I don't mind Aronson. I do like him, but recently he's one of the, it reminds me of like after Chelsea game when he first joined us. He started really really well, and then he went off the boil and just went missing. And he's kind of doing the same now. He started really really well, went off the boil, then picked up again, and then it's all like he's getting to that point where he's going to come off the boil again, which
mm,
I don't like to see because, like I say, I don't mind him, but today just wasn't his game. Apart from that first little run to start off with that distracted the keeper. Regardless of how you look at it, Craig, that's what happened.
the run
Craig, what did
wasn't to distract the keeper though. The run was to the ball, and he didn't quite get there.
no, I know, man. I'm just winding you up. What did you rate him?
6.
6. That's fine. Right, Manor Solomon, Craig. Let's hear it, mate.
Solomon, I thought today was really good. I'd probably give him. I want to give him an 8.5 because it not only was he very threatening, very it was pressing really hard today and winning the ball back a lot. He's coming in. He's coming to be the player that we thought we were going to buy when we first signed him. And I mean, we've got some player on his hands if once he gets to full flight. I think he's the best crosser of the ball in the team as well. Every cross he puts in that box is amazing, and he took his goal really well.
Yeah, I still think he's the best dribbler in the league as well.
Mm.
How he gets on the ball, he looks up as well. Where when he first joined, it was like he only looked for the cross. He didn't look to shoot really. I found, but now he's getting to that point where he's getting back to his fitness. He's getting back to his best of what he was like at Shakhtar Donetsk. Hopefully, he picks on. I don't think he's at his best just yet. I still think there is an next gear to him. And when that happens, I feel sorry for everybody else. James, you're nodding with agreement.
Yeah,
Let's hear your
he,
thoughts on
he
him.
oozes class. I think he looks a level above most of the players he's facing. You can tell he's a Premier League player. Let's put it that way. I know he didn't have a lot of good time at Spurs last season, but he is a Premier League player. Let's be honest, and he really took the game to them today. Took his goal excellently well. Looked a threat, and can't really say much more than that. I agree with you, Michael. I think there's another level for him to get up to. But I'll give him an 8 today. Thought he was very good.
I'm torn between 8 and 8.5. Don't think it was 8.5, but he was higher than an 8, so just under an 8.5.
I'm going 8
Obviously,
just because I've
we,
given Amps an 8.5, so I don't want to sort of take away the man of the match rating I've given him.
I mean, there's been many times where I've given the same rating, and I still want to give man of the match until at the end, and it only ticks when we're talking about the player who then stands out to me.
Yeah.
But Joel Perot next. I mean, quiet today. I don't think he got the service, which doesn't help him. And when he doesn't get the service, he likes to drop deep. Obviously, he did have a few shots today. One which he was unlucky with, got blocked. James, let's hear your first response for Joel Perot.
I actually forgot he was playing in the first half. He was anonymous, and that's not largely his fault, really. I think you're right. I think there's an element of like we naturally tend to go wide. We go left, we go right. We don't often go straight through the middle, and he's not the sort of centre forward who runs onto the through ball like, say, you might see with Erling Haaland. Just really bad comparison, obviously. But in terms of the attributes he sort of brings to the team, and yeah, he was anonymous first half, picked up second half, I would say, got a little bit more involved. I think we've got a problem going down the line in terms of what we want from a centre forward. I think we've got centre forwards who can do it at this level. I think we're way off having anyone who can do it in the Premier League. And if we go up, that would be a major signing. We would need a centre forward. Joel Pirot today, maybe a 6, I would say. He was very ineffective, but, he tries, and he does have a goal threat when, he can't knock his record this season, but I think that's largely because he's playing in a team that creates a lot of chances. So,
Yeah, I mean, he got 100% pass success rate.
okay.
Only 12 passes, but still.
Yeah, there we are.
I mean, I
Stats
had to
can
put that in.
mislead.
Exactly. Craig, what did you think of him? If
Yeah,
you
yeah,
had any
it were. Say again.
if you had any thoughts, that is.
Yeah, it were a bit anonymous today, but there were a couple of times where there's things that he does that Joseph doesn't do, and there's things that Joseph does that he doesn't do, that Pro doesn't do. And one thing I find when Pro's got space around him, because he's not very mobile, he's not going to drop his shoulder and turn and run at you. But what he does do when he's got space, he can pick a pass. He's done it a few times, and and the weight of the pass is pretty good as well. So he did that a few times today, and yeah, probably 6.5. I'm not rating him the same as Brendan, so 6.5.
It's a tough one. And like James just said, didn't really notice he was playing in the first half. Obviously, he's there, he causes trouble, but not at the same time.
Mm.
Like he's just an extra body, like Aronson was today, because how we play. But if he's in the box, he's getting goals. Obviously, unlucky with one of the shots he had, but yeah, 6. I'm going. I hate that because I really don't mind Pirro, but yeah, I'll go for a 6. Right, the two subs. Let's go for Joseph and Gruev. Roughly the same rating, or anyone higher than the other? Craig.
Um, that well, grew up. If is to say he's been out for so long, it's just like I said, is not taking long to get back to how he used to be. Just putting himself about. Probably give him maybe a 7, just because he does assert himself on the game.
Yeah,
Same, I'd give him a 7 as well. I thought he was assertive. I think he's neat and tidy and very reliable. I like him, to be fair, and I think having an extra body back, we'll need him. The game's coming thick and fast, so it's great that he's fit again and back in the team, and great that he got some minutes in his legs. So a tidy 7 for me as well.
Yeah, no, I'll go for a 7 as well. What about Joseph? I mean, he presses, looks hungry, just not the final product. And yes, I get he's only young and it's his first full season. I understand that. James, let's hear it from you first. What did you make of him for like at 20 minutes, half an hour?
Yeah, he tries hard, and I can't knock his enthusiasm. I just think he needs a couple of goals, and I don't think it's not like he's like snuffing at chances. There was nothing that really came his way today, so you know, if he's not scoring though, I find it hard to sort of draw the positives from him at the moment. I think he's lacking quite a lot of confidence, unfortunately, which when you're a centre forward, you unfortunately judged on goals, and he's gone so long without one. It's very difficult for him. I just think he needs a couple of like in off the backside moments really, and sort of get his confidence going again. So he tries hard, he works hard. He had a couple of runs at their defence and did okay. So 6.5 for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with both of those. Craig, you going to go for 6.5 as well, or
No, I'll just go for I'll go for a 6.5. I can't rate him lower than that.
no? That's fine. Obviously, the next two will have completely different ratings. We'll go for Willie first. Craig, what did you think about Willie today?
Did he play?
Did he play?
uh,
That's that response then.
yeah, I'm just gonna give him not being harsh on him, but I'll give him a 6 because I just didn't notice anything from him today.
No, that's fine.
I
James,
think
are
that
you the same?
yeah, I think that's fine. I think 6 is about right for him. He didn't have much of an impact. I love Willie. I think he's a great player. Um, he's probably suffering a bit now, knowing that Solomon's the main man, and I think there's perhaps a little bit of I feel a bit left out here sort of element in his game to a certain extent, and he's not really having the impact you'd want from a substitute in the way that Ramazani did, which we'll come on to. So for Willie, 6 for me today, I think.
Yeah, I think just a soft 6. Um, right, Ramazani, obviously, it's getting to that point now where it's Solomon. No, sorry, Solomon starting winger, and then it's toss up between James and Ramazani, or potentially put Ramazani in the 10. Let's just get onto him. Obviously, takes his goal brilliantly. James, what would you rate him?
7.5 today. I thought he was excellent. Big impact. Took the game to them. Obviously, the goal, which was exquisite, an assist as well. You can't really ask for much more than that in the time he was on the field. And at a time when we're thinking, are we going to scrape a 1-0 or are we going to like stuff it up like we did against Blackburn at home? He made the difference in that, a flattering 3-0, but that second and third goal, his impact. So definitely 7.5 today. You did really, really well.
Yep. Craig, what about you, mate?
Yeah, I'm climbing up to a game.
Fire alarm there?
Maybe. Sorry about that. um, yeah, I'm going to give him an 8. I think that it looked like going to be a 1-0 scraping a 1-0 win, and then he changed the game completely. And at first I was like, oh, don't take Solomon off because he's been so good. But yeah, Ramazani, he just changed the game. It brought that enthusiasm and excitement. But this is the point that I say between him and Aronson is Ramazani doesn't lose the ball. He doesn't. He creates things with it. And yeah, a goal and an assist from the time he was on the pitch is brilliant.
Could you see him as a
Yeah,
number
I'm good.
10 in the team?
I think personally, just from watching him, I think he's better in that 10 role, in a central role, than he is on the wing. Solomon's your winger, and I think that Ramazani, because he doesn't, he just finds those little pockets, and he can just drop and turn with on a sixpence that Aronson can't do that, and I don't think we're going to lose much in the pressing part of it either. So
I don't think it matters anyway, that whole 10 role, especially with Ramazani, because you can put Ramazani and Solomon slightly over to the left, and then Rothwell would come up anyway. Because, like I referred to at the start, we generally play like a six up top anyway. So you'd have him push over, and then Rothwell or Tanaka or Gruev even can push up into that middle. So you're essentially paying four behind Pirro or Joseph, whoever's there. So I don't think that whole 10 role necessarily is a factor in how we play. I think it's just that's how we set up on paper, but when we actually play, it's a lot more fluid. So yeah, I think he would potentially be there. I mean, him or Solomon would be fine. Um, I've got to give Ramazani an 8 as well. I just think so direct in how he plays, and it's a good option to have. We've got four different wingers in completely different way of playing. Obviously, Ramazani's got speed as well as James, but in how the style of play, James is like knock on the ball, run onto it, pass the defender, whereas Ramazani's dribble at feet, take on a player. Ramazani similar as well, but not as quick. He's more like take it to the byline and cross it in, or he can cross in and shoot. And then you got Nonto who does a bit of everything, but not at the same effect of them. So it's good that we've got options. It's absolutely brilliant. Like you said, games coming thick and fast. Game on Wednesday, so it'll be interesting to see who plays on that.
Mm. It's
Yeah,
like you saw his first goal though today. In those times when teams have got 11 men behind the ball, I'm not saying Wednesdays did that today, but he was, pretty congested in there. And when we've got up against them, players like Ramazani, I think you need because he can unlock them defences.
yeah, I agree. Obviously, Kilovagu came on right at the end, so we can't really rate him. So we'll just do an NA for him unless he stands out for any of you, unless you two want to give him a rating.
No,
Aye.
NA's fine, but I love the fact he's got like something like a 95% win record for the appearances he's had, which only total up to about 135 minutes. But he's probably got the highest win
Yeah,
percentage of any player anywhere in the entire league.
it's just that whole game, wouldn't it? If it wasn't for Melier, he would have had 100%. But it is what it is. It's over and done with now.
Yep, yep.
I think that wraps up all the rating. Quickly before we finish, I mean, it's gone on one of the longest podcasts we've done so far.
Sorry about
Any,
that.
fine, no, it's fine. It's free flowing. It's cool. Transfer rumors will quickly get in a name who you want to see in or a position you want us to improve on. James, I'll go to you
Yeah, I'd
first.
love a number 10. I've not shirked away from the fact that I don't think Aronson's quite good enough, even at this level. I'd love a number 10. I'd love, ideally, obviously, we've all read about Emi Buendia. There's a connection there with Farker. Farker's not said no, so there's a possibility. Let's not say it's impossible at this point. Sources we've got Team Talk, though, are suggesting that Villa are open to his loan, but if they do so, they want 100% coverage of his wages, which is 75k a week. I don't think we're going to pay that. So unless Villa sort of compromise a little bit on that, it might be a difficult one to pull off. But then he's not getting games. He's way behind Morgan Rogers at Aston Villa, who, by the way, has been brilliant. I don't ever remember him being that good at Middlesbrough, but there we are. So, yeah, if we could get it done, that'd be the ideal one for me. I think it's like that sprinkling of magic from Buendia. I know he's not had that many games, but you look at Solomon, there's a sprinkling of Premier League class about Solomon, and I think we'd get the same from Buendia if we could get it in. So he'd be the dream one for me, but difficult all the same.
Yeah, Craig, what about you, mate?
Yeah, same. I've been thinking this for a while though that Buendia would, if we went for him on this summer, there's no reason why we wouldn't be going in for him in January because Fark had all that about, we didn't get the 10 that he wanted and all that came out after. And I think Emi Buendia is the guy that he wants because he knows him. He knows what he's going to get from him. He always speaks about he doesn't want to bring a player in at this point of the season when they've not played many minutes. They've not, they've got to get up to speed. But with Buendia, it'd be different because he knows him. He knows what he can bring. And at first, he'll probably play 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there until he gets up to speed. But yeah, he's going to bring a different dimension and, like I said, Premier League quality. And in my eyes, there'll be some wiggle room with that 75 grand a week, because now Villa have said that they'll want him to, like, they'll allow him to go on loan to get game time. He needs it. I think there'll be some wiggle room with maybe an obligation to buy if we go. If we do, and we sign him, it will be a Premier League player we've got for that position.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. Obviously, I did an article for Sky Sports the other day, and I said who positions that we needed, not mentioning many names. Obviously, depending on how long Pascal is out for, potentially that Forest defender. I can never pronounce his name, so I'm not even going to try and butcher it. But I think he could do a decent job for us at centre back as coverage. But again, do players want to come to us knowing that they're not going to get in? We'd only really be improving our bench, to say the least, and we've got the strongest bench in the league. And I understand, obviously, Sheffield United, Sunderland, Burnley are improving their sides, and I look at it: would they get into our team? No. Would they get into our bench? Probably not. But they're improving their side, which is what they need to do. And I don't think we're necessarily standing still. We just need to bring in the right piece of the jigsaw to actually fit. Otherwise, there's no point. We've seen it so many times in the past when we've got players in and they've not fit at all. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
yeah.
But
I think the
yeah,
good other teams are doing though are getting you know, you're filling places up, but they're getting to a point where they're filling out the squad, and if they do get promoted, they've got permanent players there that they're not going to get many minutes in the Premier League, or they're not going to be the type of player you want. Whereas, yeah, I think our squad is good as it is, really good, and I would rather wait and get someone like Wendia right at the end of the transfer window, because if you get that signing, that's better than any of the signings that any of those teams have got.
yeah, I agree. Right, we'll leave it there. James, before we leave, thank you first and foremost, thank you for joining. Where can people find you?
Yeah, thank you for having me, Michael and Craig. It's been a pleasure being on. I'm the editor of teamtalk.com, so we're all across all, the focus is largely on the Premier League, transfer rumours, pundits, what they're saying. But because I'm a massive Leeds fan, I always give Leeds a lot of coverage as well. So Premier League team in the making anyway. We're a Premier League team, really, but don't want to tempt fate. So yeah, teamtalk.com, and then you can find me on socials, Marshy Leeds, across X and Blue Sky.
Yes. Craig, thank you for joining as always.
No problem.
And we'll leave it there. And we'll be back for the Norwich game, which hopefully will get 3 points.
Yeah.
Cheers for joining, guys.